Today's class is about the orbit. The orbital cavities are pyramidal spaces on either side of the nose. It has an apex and a base. Apex is directed posteriorly. The base is the free anterior end visible to our eyes. This pyramidal spaced orbital cavity has a medial wall and lateral wall. The two medial wall are parallel to each other, but the lateral wall is at right angles to each other, and the long axis of the orbital cavity is directed posteriorly and medially, but the axis of the eyeball is making 20 to 25 degree angle with the axis of the orbit. What are the boundaries? The orbit has roof, floor, medial wall and lateral wall. The bones forming the boundaries of the orbital cavity. The roof is formed by orbital plate of the frontal bone and lesser wing of the sphenoid bone, and the medial wall is the floor is formed by the orbital plate of the maxillary bone and orbital plate of the zygomatic bone, and one more small bone which we usually miss is the orbital process of palatine bone. The medial wall is formed by frontal process of the maxillary bone, lacrimal bone and ethmoid bone and the body of the sphenoid bone. Note here, the lacrimal bone is present on the medial wall. The lateral wall is formed by frontal process of the zygomatic bone and greater wing of the sphenoid bone. What are the relations? The roof is related to the anterior cranial fossa. You can see the blue colored area. The roof is formed by orbital plate of frontal bone, which separates the orbital cavity from the contents of the anterior cranial fossa. The frontal lobe is lodged in the anterior cranial fossa, so it is related to the roof of the orbital cavity. Then you can see the frontal sinus located supromedial to the orbital cavity on either sides. The medial wall is related to ethmoidal air sinuses. The floor or inferior wall is related to the maxillary air sinuses, and the lateral wall is separated from the temporal fossa by the zygomatic bone or lateral wall, and the part of the lateral wall of the orbit is formed by greater wing of the sphenoid. So this greater wing of the sphenoid separates the part of the orbit from the middle cranial fossa. What are the special features seen on the walls of the orbit? The roof is limited anteriorly by the supraorbital margin. It has a notch called supraorbital notch. The optic canal is located at the junction of the roof and the medial wall. Then the yellow oval marking indicates the fossa for the lacrimal gland. Remember, the lacrimal bone is present on the medial wall, while the fossa for the lacrimal gland is present superolaterally on the roof. This hook-like structure on the anteromedial aspect of the roof is called trochlea. This transmits the tendon of superior oblique muscle. The lateral wall is limited anteriorly by lateral orbital margin. The Whitnell's tubercle, it is a mild elevation which gives attachment to lateral check ligament. We will see it later. Then there is a foramina called zygomatic foramen which transmits the zygomatic nerve. Then the inferior wall or the floor of the orbit is limited by infraorbital margin. Then it has infraorbital groove which converts into infraorbital canal and opens in the face as infraorbital foramen. The inferior orbital fissure. Then medial wall is limited by medial orbital margin. What are the communications? Superior orbital fissure. It creates communication between the orbital cavity and the middle cranial fossa. You can see the arrows indicating the superior orbital fissure, which is the space between the lesser wing of sphenoid and greater wing of the sphenoid. The inferior orbital fissure. It is a communication between the orbital cavity and the pterygopalatine fossa. It is located just slightly posterior to the orbital cavity and the maxillary sinus. We have seen in the previous classes. Then the infraorbital groove. This infraorbital groove communicates with the face through the infraorbital canal and infraorbital foramen, and the infraorbital groove is open posteriorly with the inferior orbital fissure and the pterygopalatine fossa. You can see the infraorbital groove, canal and the foramen. Optic canal. Optic canal transmits optic nerve. This forms a way of communication between orbital cavity and anterior cranial fossa. This is a picture of sphenoid bone with lesser wing and greater wing. The space between them is superior orbital fissure. You can see the optic canal emerging just above that. What are the structures passing through these foramina? Superior orbital fissure. It is divided into 3 compartments by an annulus of Zinn. It is a muscular tendinous ring. We will see that. So it is divided into lateral, intermediate and medial compartment. The upper and lateral compartment transmits 3 nerves. Remember the mnemonic LFT. That is lacrimal, frontal and trochlear nerve. Trochlear nerve is the 4th cranial nerve. It also transmits one vein, superior ophthalmic vein. The middle compartment transmits only nerves, which is 3rd nerve, 6th nerve and nasociliary nerve. The 3rd nerve has upper division and lower division. So the middle intermediate compartment transmits upper and lower division of oculomotor nerve, nasociliary nerve and abducens nerve. And the last medial most compartment or lower compartment, it transmits inferior ophthalmic vein. Then inferior orbital fissure transmits infraorbital nerve and vessels and zygomatic nerve. This infraorbital nerve and vessels further traverses the infraorbital groove and enters the infraorbital canal. Optic canal. Optic canal transmits optic nerve along with the ophthalmic artery. What are the contents of the orbit? Eyeball along with the extraocular muscles, blood vessels, lymphatics, nerves, ganglion, lacrimal gland, orbital fascia and orbital fat filling the rest of the spaces, which gives the cushion effect and protects the eyeball during the movements. Eyeball. It is an organ of sight. It is covered by Tenon's fascia. We will see in detail about the eyeball in next class. Orbital fascia. Orbital fascia lines the inner surface of the orbital cavity. Superiorly and inferiorly, this orbital septum blends with the periosteum of the surrounding bones, means the bones forming the margins of the orbit. Posteriorly, this orbital fascia blends with the sheath of the optic nerve. You can see in the picture. Anteriorly, this orbital fascia forms the orbital septum related with upper and lower eyelids. This arrow indicates the Tenon's capsule. This Tenon's capsule or fascia, it is an extension of the sheath of the optic nerve up to the sclerocorneal junction of the eyeball. This Tenon's fascia is pierced by the extraocular muscles during the insertion. So, at the insertion points, this Tenon's capsule forms a tubular sheath for each recti muscles. It also gives some extensions on either sides as ligaments. These are called medial and lateral check ligaments. The medial check ligament extends from the sheath of medial rectus and attached to the lacrimal bone. The lateral check ligament extends from the tubular sheath around the lateral rectus and attaches to the zygomatic bone laterally. And inferiorly, this Tenon's capsule gives an extension called suspensory ligament of Lockwood. All these ligaments keeps the eyeball in position. What are the nerves which pass through the orbit? Optic nerve through the optic canal, then the cranial nerves 3, 4, 6 and nasociliary frontal lacrimal branches of ophthalmic division of the fifth cranial nerve. These pass through the superior orbital fissure we have seen in the picture. Then apart from this, the zygomatic nerve and infraorbital nerves, which are the branches from maxillary division of the fifth nerve. Ciliary ganglion. It is a parasympathetic ganglion located within the orbit between optic nerve and lateral rectus muscle. It has three roots or three inputs: sensory, sympathetic and parasympathetic root. This ciliary ganglion is topographically related to fifth cranial nerve but functionally related to the oculomotor nerve, that is third cranial nerve. The sensory root is derived from fifth cranial nerve through the nasociliary nerve. The sympathetic root, it is derived from postganglionic fibers of superior cervical sympathetic ganglion in the neck. They first encircles around internal carotid artery and then reach the ciliary ganglion. The parasympathetic root, it is motor to the muscle. Note here, there is no secretomotor fibers, only motor fibers via parasympathetic root. This is derived from Edinger-Westphal nucleus of the third cranial nerve. Also note here, only parasympathetic root relays in the ciliary ganglion. The other sensory and sympathetic fibers does not relay in the ciliary ganglion. Even though the ciliary ganglion has three input roots, the output is through only one nerve, that is short ciliary nerve. Short ciliary nerve divides into multiple branches and reaches the eyeball to supply the corresponding ciliary and pupillary muscles. The sympathetic fibers are responsible for dilating the pupil, that is through dilator pupillae. The parasympathetic root is responsible for constricting the pupil. This picture shows the ciliary ganglion present just lateral to the optic nerve and medial to the lateral rectus, that is not shown in the diagram here. And see the multiple branches of short ciliary nerves arising from the ciliary ganglion and reaches the eyeball. The blood vessels in the orbit are ophthalmic artery and its branches. This ophthalmic artery, it enters the orbital cavity along with the optic nerve. See, the artery is located infralateral initially to the optic nerve within the dural sheath of the optic nerve. Then it pierces the dural sheath and comes out and lie on the lateral aspect of the optic nerve. Then it crosses optic nerve superiorly from lateral to medial. Then it divides into multiple branches to supply the contents of the orbit. And these are the branches of ophthalmic artery. Take a note of it. Along with these branches, the corresponding tributaries, venous tributaries and ophthalmic vein are also the contents of the ophthalmic orbital cavity. The most important branch of the ophthalmic artery is central artery of retina. This central artery of retina, it pierces the dural sheath and enters the substance of the optic nerve. It lies and or travels in the long axis of the optic nerve within the substance of the optic nerve and reaches the optic disc and supply the posterior segment of the retina or eyeball. The lymphatics from the orbital cavity drain into the preauricular lymph nodes. Coming to the applied aspects, the orbital fractures are more common during trauma, especially blowout fractures, so that sometimes the contents of, depending upon the fractured area, the content of the orbit may protrude through the fractured line and get trapped. Optic neuritis is inflammation of the optic nerve. Intraorbital tumors. Intraorbital tumors may cause a mass effect and compresses the nearby nerves, blood vessels and cause symptoms depending on that. Ciliary ganglion block. It can be used for cataract surgeries. Thank you.